Barakathiya Howell, Barakathiya Oshai, Barakathiya Howell, Barakathiya Oshai, Barakathiya Howell, Barakathiya Howell, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Gakudash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutation to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to Stakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On a pre-Shaman, this week's topic is going to be entitled "It All Feels Synthetic." Fake, man. What is this all? A lot of what's been going on recently, and being covered by the mainstream media. Slovakia. Most recently, this situation in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with George Floyd, and there's a lot surfacing, man. You know that these guys knew each other 17 years. That George Floyd, apart from doing pornography, he had Freemason tattoos, and just how quickly the riots escalated. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the Rodney King riots back in L.A. in terms of escalation. Apostle Elder Rhymewob opened up his one of his previous lessons with the fact that it's coincidences. All seem coincidental, The businesses are conveniently closed. People are conveniently wearing masks. Conveniently pissed off because they're not being able to release their stress how they normally would, but only through alcohol. So suicide has gone up, and it's like it's just a lot of it seemed orchestrated. This is the definition of a psyop. Psychological operations are operations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their emotions. And niggas has been getting killed by cops for years, and the cops has been oppressing everybody for years. But this moment in time, the media is definitely trying to convey a message. It says motives and objectives, reasonings, and ultimately the behavior of governments and organization groups and individuals. And lately, with this whole coronavirus lockdown and this situation now, one thing comes to my mind, man, is something that the CIA often does with other countries, and it's called regime change. So I'm going to read the definition of a regime change operation. It says regime change may replace all or part of the state's most critical leadership systems, administrative apparatus, or bureaucracy. It can be the deliberate product of outside force, as in warfare, rollback in the military strategy to impose regime change by defeating an enemy by removing its regime or force. And, I think of Venezuela, right? How they try to get Juan Guaido up in there and get rid of Nicolas Maduro. And one thing that the mainstream media was blasting was how fucked up Venezuela is, and people are eating each other, and, but when you went to Venezuela, they were suffering hyperinflation due to the sanctions. But that was it, But they was trying to pump something up on a narrative to get rid of a political leader. Now, it does look like, because they are going against each other, the Reds and the Blues, the Democrats, Republicans, that they could be stirring up, the situation to get this guy out of there, Donald Trump, right? Because they had the impeachment, and they used the coronavirus to make this dude look bad. Now all of a sudden you had this guy crack some AutoZone window and didn't loot anything. He had a fucking umbrella on, all black, couldn't see his face. What's why I say wearing a mask all of a sudden became very convenient. He breaks open the place and leaves. Didn't take anything. And this thing was being called a riot in the papers. Washington Post, CNN, all these guys, before it was even an actual riot. So it feels very synthetic. However, it's the Most High that's moving both pieces to further his prophecies, whether it's synthetic or not. Isaiah 13:8, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. When a woman is going through child labor, she goes through random, sporadic pains that she can't control, she can't predict, and this is what is happening to this woman right here, America, man. Right, in the form of, we saw the grinding. So many prophecies, man. The spirit is heavy on Apostle Elder Tahar to coin it the year of prophecy, because so many prophecies are being fulfilled in the aftermath of these guys warring with each other and doing different coups and CIA operations to try to oust each other in terms of who should run this place. The aftermath is prophecies being fulfilled, because this thing escalated so seriously, and they already put in bricks and insinuating people to get violent. And meanwhile, you know what? You destroying your own community, so-called. You just like they did in LA. They have you burned out, like, because you think about it, the ones in power not working at fucking Target and AutoZone. You know what I'm saying? The ruling elite, they don't give a fuck about those places you burning down. But the places that you're burning down, those small businesses, is places that you Jakes work at and some of you own, right? Again, further trying to create a larger gap between rich and poor, which ultimately will happen. Because it says what? He calls all both small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark in their right hand and their forehead. So it's just gonna be rich and poor at the end of the day, man. They wiping out this whole middle class situation, man. It says, as a woman that travaileth, they shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. People are pissed off. They're no longer regarding kings and their kings. All right, as it says in the book of Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, and all hell is breaking loose, right? So the synthetic crisis, just like coronavirus, now the new one is this particular crisis that we're going through with the civil unrest. Again, just like how you had a genuine virus outbreak in terms of a new corona strain, but the media, man, is so powerful. They could turn a small thing, make it enormous. And what you do with that now is you use crisis to make opportunity. We've seen something similar, all right? The news is coming out that these guys knew each other. We could only speculate if that whole thing was real or not, One thing it was a fucked up image, I'll say that much, seeing this dude getting stomped out, and if he's an Israelite, he's the apple of the Most High's eye. Even if he's a wicked Israelite, whatever, he's still a Jake. So, people get pissed off about that. So they take this recent protest, but the protest ain't enough. So you have ancient provocateurs, as the apostles, the elders, brothers see through that stir shit up for their own means, man. It's not to amend any new rights for you Jakes, man. Get that through your thick skulls, all right? They're using you. They're using you for a means to an end, man, to create another crisis, all right, to further different political agendas, man. They don't have you in mind, all right? 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us. Now, who's Satan? Satan is the so-called white man. That's how come we didn't fall for no physical protest, man. Did a lesson through the spirit. Our protest is spiritual, because carnally, we're not gonna take this man out of his rulership. That's not our role, all right? That's the Hawashai's job. So Jake fell for the whole okadoke. They're gonna do stupid shit like rob cars, and which they literally stole a car off of. They drove a car out, and they're doing all these different things. And guess what? All of them is gonna get locked up. A majority of them. All right, we're living in an era where you can't really get away with crime, man. All right, because they got cameras on every corner, and they coming to find out that 80% of those people that were protesting in Minnesota weren't even from Minnesota. They were from other places. Letting you know that this thing is orchestrated, it's being fueled, it's being pumped up, man. But at the end of the day, again, this is all the Most High's doing. He's the puppeteer. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant of his devices. So, we didn't get caught up in none of that BS, because we was always like, man, we circumspect with things. You look at everything like, who stands to gain from that, who stands to gain from this, and what is the end-all, be-all outcome of it, And trust and believe these devils do auto ab KO. Again, going back to this whole regime situation, man. What you do in a regime change is like you. Let me get a better picture, because it's what they do in the Middle East. Like they create the ISIS's, and they create the Al Qaeda's, and all these different things. They create them and unleash them on the public to create civil unrest, and then come up with a solution, a new leader. And we see that here in America, man. They doing regime changes, and they doing sanctions and all that. To try to put a new leader up in there, man. It's the same tactic being used by the CIA. They rehash the same shit. Let me see. See if we get ISIS. And one thing too about ISIS, what was pretty funny is not pretty funny, but you can see the parallels is they all covered up in masks, so you don't know who's who and what's what. So it's the same thing. They doing with this situation, man. Everybody's wearing masks. You don't know who's sincere about it, who wants to sincerely see change, and who doesn't, who's a cop. So they doing the same shit, but on their own country. You know, Ephesians 5 and 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So look, man, we're not falling for the okadoke. All right, we're not. Again, our protest is remaining spiritual, but again, we observe everything, man, and warning our people to beware of traps like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Beware of traps like that. You going out there, you burning a cop car and doing all that shit, and it ain't gonna change nothing, man. They're not gonna get the ruling elite out of their power seat, man. You know, you going down there burning down your own neighborhoods and burning down, it's just again, it's not gonna do anything. You know, what the war, but again, the Mossad being behind the scenes, he's fulfilling the prophecies of the wars, the rumors of wars, of uprising of the people, and all this because that's the stuff that has to approach before he returns, man. You know. So that was just a quick lesson, real, just quick weekly lesson. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone with you well, and salutations to the whole for the elect out there. You Akim to Zadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom, brothers.